Welcome to Capsized, a Silver Lake podcast talking about weekly school-wide updates, hosted by
Connor,
Cass,
and Messina. Thank you, Silver Lake Library and community, for making this possible. We couldn't have done it without Miss Matthias.
All right, so we have a new member on the team.
Hello.
It's
I am Luca.
Yes.
what do you play as a role?
Yeah, what do you do here, Luca?
What do I do here?
Yeah, what's your purpose?
I'm also average at everything.
You're also average at everything. That's okay. Connor, are you also average at everything?
I am. Are you a host?
Now I guess.
There we
Hey,
go.
there we go. Perfect. And we have,
We have Connor. I'm Connor.
of course,
And
obviously.
we have Miss Schwer here. Would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. This is very exciting to be on Silver Lake's podcast.
I just had a couple of questions to start off with. What subject do you teach and what grades do you teach?
Yeah, I am a social studies teacher. I always have been in my entire career here. And for the most part, I have been teaching psychology, sociology, and current affairs. That's what I have this year.
Nice.
All right. And is there anything specific you want to tell us before we get started? Any information you have off the top of your head?
Well, I've never been on a podcast before, so this
Well.
is very, very exciting, although I listen to a podcast every day. I would just say that it's very nice to be asked. I do appreciate that. I've been at Silver Lake for 35 years teaching. It's changed so much since I started. And so whatever questions you have, I'll try my best to think back to all the things that have happened and occurred along the way.
Nice.
So one question I have is, what's the most prevalent difference between when you started here and now?
Wow, that is a big question.
Very big question. Big vocab.
A good
I was
question.
very
In
Oh,
terms
thank
of the
you.
school itself, or the kids, or my teaching, or what?
I mean, you could say things that you've learned, like with teaching since then, or just general things about the school.
Oh, wow.
Like about the students.
Yeah.
Like about the I know the building's changed. We've gone over the building's history and how much it's changed since it was first made and everything.
Tremendously, yeah.
I think we went over that with Mr. Blatt, right?
Okay.
But yeah, just
Yeah.
like general differences that
Sure.
between then and now.
So Mr. Blett probably talked about we were a two-campus high school.
yes.
Yeah, so that was crazy. So actually, when I first started, I was a traveling teacher, so I would go from the Pembroke, what is now Pembroke High School, and travel over here every single day.
Every
It was,
day.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it was
Ugh.
crazy. I know.
With
that
your
was
car,
my that was my duty.
the
Duty
gas
period.
money for that. Oh my god.
So there you go. But one thing I will say that's really, really special to me is that in the last couple of years, when the bell rings and the kids stand up to go, they thank me. I don't think I'm unique in this, but the fact that kids are appreciative and it's very heartfelt, and they say, thanks so much, and that just really is super neat to hear. I mean, I didn't even do that for my teachers. It never really even
Really?
occurred to me. And the number of kids that do that kind of thing, it's really quite special. And I find that kids write you notes and nice emails and things, much more communication that way than when I first started.
That's awesome.
That is actually really cute. I thought that was. I was thinking about that. I was like, why didn't you guys say thank you to your teachers after you
Yeah.
left?
Yeah, this never occurred to us
Things
have changed.
somehow. Yeah.
I think nowadays, especially with this whole crazy COVID situation going on, it's like a lot of kids are very happy to be back in school. Like they.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot of my friends personally. They wanted to come back to school, and I know that there was a lot of concern for it. But I think that the fact that teachers are here and present and willing to be in the school and teach kids is something that should be appreciated. I mean, you're risking your life to educate the future generation, so I think that's something that should be appreciated. And
Well, thanks. I mean,
I think that's really
it
cool of
is,
you.
For me personally, so much better than the spring when we didn't get to see people. I mean,
Yes.
that teaching to me is not looking at a screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it goes both ways, I guess.
That's awesome. Did you have any more questions?
Well, I was told you were exclusively a social studies teacher, so I have a historical
Oh,
question.
jeez. Okay, I try
I
my
like
best.
Who's your favorite historical figure and why?
Well, when I started my career, I did teach history. I really always wanted to be a behavioral science teacher and do psych and soc, but to get my foot in the door, you had to be like a history teacher. So favorite? Oh my gosh. It is almost too hard to narrow down because you've got U.S. and then you've got world. But overall, all right, if I have to throw out a name, because I don't want to disappoint, I really have a huge fondness for Harriet Tubman.
Ooh.
And on vacation about 2 years ago, I was in the Finger Lakes area of New York, and I was able to go to her house. And there's so much more to this woman than just some of the parts that we know about, Underground Railroad and things like that. She did a lot in her life and helped people out so much. And she had a house that she invited people in that didn't have money to live, and she just said, "Come live with me." And she just really took care of people in a wonderful way her whole life. So she is somebody that I definitely admire and look up to in history.
That's
really
cool.
nice.
That's awesome. Do you have any more questions?
I do.
Cass does, all right.
So I know that you said that you've been teaching here for a long time. Could you specify how long? Like, how many years has it been?
Yeah,
since you
35 years
30.
since I started. Yep, right out of college.
Right out of college? Is that hard, like, coming right out of college to, like, right into teaching? Or is it like is there like a training process for that? Is there like, you come in as like a substitute at first and then you sort of work your way up? Or is it just you go right into the department, like as a history teacher?
So, I'd say, for me, it's very unique because I didn't just have my first real job, but I also moved here from Iowa.
Oh.
So when I was 17, I came to New England with my family on vacation, and I fell in love with it. And I told everybody that I was going to live here.
Mm-hmm.
And my family said, "Oh, that's interesting." Didn't buy it at all. And so when I was in my senior year of college, I got a book out, and it had every single name of school and address for any school within 10 miles of the ocean. And I sent my resume up and down that coast, trying to find a school with it. Anyway, so I did hear back from a number of schools, and one of them happened to be Silver Lake, and it was all very exciting how things happened. So there was that, just like moving, and I talk about this a lot in my sociology class, just the culture shock that I had when I moved here. But in teaching, you have student teaching, so I had done that for, I forget now, 8 weeks I think it was, and that's like one of the best preparations you could ever have for this job, even though there's no 100% preparation. That is probably the overall best. So I did that
Exactly.
Yeah.
in a city back home.
That's awesome. Question I just came up with is, have you always been a teacher here in the New England?
Yes.
Not New England.
No,
New England, New England.
Yeah. I've always been a teacher. I've done other things within the school voluntarily. For example, freshman class advisor, and helped out with honor society, on the council doing interviews and things like that. But no, I've always been a social studies teacher the whole time.
That's awesome.
How is it working in the National Honor Society? Like, what is it like? I myself, I don't have the grades for that, obviously. But I'm curious. I hear about it all the time. I was sitting in my chemistry class, and something was called for NHS, and like half the class got up and left, and I was like, that's a lot of people. What? So is it like a small club, or is it like school wide? Like there's like hundreds of students in it.
Right. So Mrs. Dillon is in charge of this right now, and so she would have probably the best answer. But it is an honor to be asked. So you have to have certain criteria with your grade point average to be asked, and then you can, if you want to, do an application if you meet all the requirements, and then you can have an interview, and based on that, that's where I came in. I was on the faculty council, so we had tons of interviews that went on for multiple days, late into the afternoon. And then if people meet the qualifications, they will receive, an invite, and then there's an induction. But this school is neat that in the sense that it's not just, I have the name and my title for my, college application. It does an awful lot of good for the community as well. A lot of philanthropy, a lot of raising money for different causes and helping out and things like that.
So it's a lot of like volunteer work and everything.
Yep, they do a lot for the school. For example, at Thanksgiving, when my kids donated, canned goods and things like that, it was the Key Club and the Honor Society that came around and collected everything.
That's awesome. It sounds definitely cool.
I know, it does. I was so curious. I was like, there's so many people like getting up out of all my classes to go to NHS, and I was like, I wonder what this is. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's not like my grades are bad, guys. I mean, I have an
Sure.
average. Okay, I am an average student. I will admit that I'm not like
Well,
above the.
Maybe
you
it's
know.
something to shoot for, right? Even
Yeah.
seniors get in, so it doesn't have to be, This year I know it was a little bit unique. I think
It was
yeah,
definitely
because
yeah.
of COVID. Because usually I think it's sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So
Yeah.
So I do have another question for you.
okay.
Kind of to go back on what one of Luca's questions were, is what is your, when you first started teaching, what can you think of from when you first started teaching to now, something good that has happened throughout your teaching career? Whether it's with students, whether it's change in students that you've noticed over the years, whether it's part of your job, anything?
Oh, there's been lots of good things.
I know, it's tough.
Okay, I'll tell you the truth. When I first started teaching, I was in a building that was about ready to fall apart.
Mhm.
It was very old and decrepit, and
Mhm.
so ending my career, in this building has been super nice compared to where we were before. So that's really neat, a positive, I'd say. Also, we have so many neat electives for kids to take in so many specified areas that I think, a smaller school probably couldn't do that, but we have the staff to be able to offer unique courses. So that's another positive thing. Oh gosh, there's been so many good things that have happened, but I'd say for myself personally, that it's been really great getting to teach psychology and sociology and current affairs. Just through the years, realizing how it's changed people's lives and how so much of what we learn about relates to the real world, and then seeing kids that have graduated that have, come back and told me that's been really neat.
That's awesome.
That's happened. Yep.
Another question I have is, what is something from when you first started teaching to now that maybe you wish was still in place or that you miss from the beginning of your career?
All right. Well, this wasn't from the beginning, but ironically enough, we are right now in what we call block scheduling.
Yeah.
And for better or worse, I personally love it. Not
Really?
everybody does. I understand that. But before we had the schedule that we normally have with the 7 days and we
The
dropped one.
rotating,
Yeah, we had block schedule. And the kids liked it because they said, rather than having to get ready for all of my classes tomorrow, I can focus on just these 3, let's say, or these 4. So that was a positive thing. And they felt a little bit more like it was like college because you didn't have class every day. You'd see the kids every other day. So even for myself, tonight I can focus on what I need to do for tomorrow rather than all of my kids and all of my classes. So I really do, the block scheduling is something that I really like. Now, I know that next year the plan is to go back, I think, just to the regular schedule.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that like that as well. And I get it. Shorter classes for one thing, if you have short attention spans.
Yeah, I have
things
terrible
like that.
ADHD. Focusing's not my strong suit.
Maybe too long. I get it.
Yeah.
College classes are a little bit more like the length of block schedule.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I think it's from my experience. But did I answer your question
You did.
properly? Okay.
I was gonna say I like that too. Any more questions from Cass or Luca?
What questions over here? Luca?
Second part of my second question was, who's your least favorite historical figure and why?
I'm sorry, Luca.
Well, that one
I
doesn't take any
interrupted you.
thought at all. That would be Hitler, without a
But-
doubt. There's no
Well, I mean,
scouring my memory on that.
kind of a
one.
given.
Yeah, my students right now in sociology, we're talking about race and ethnicity and the Holocaust and genocide and all that kind of thing and hatred and so forth. And I just think of, unfortunately, that's the epitome of all those bad things would be tied to Hitler. So that would be an easy answer for me.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense.
I do have a question for you, actually. And this is the last question, assuming that we're all done with questions. Luca, you're set? Connor?
I'm all set.
All right. Well, we do this tradition after every podcast, after we interview people. If you could have any superpower in the whole world that you could think of, what would you want your superpower to be?
In current affairs the other day, there was a story about the military practicing with these, jetpack suits, and they showed people flying from like an air carrier to an aircraft. I think flying would be pretty neat to have the perspective of being able to look at things from above. Would be awesome.
Mhm.
That's probably what I would go with.
It sounds pretty cool to me. I don't know. I can't remember, but I don't know if we've gotten that one yet. I think the closest.
I don't think we have actually. I think
No.
we've gotten. What was it?
We got teleporting. I think
teleporting,
that's the closest one.
shape-shifting.
I said shape shifting. I don't know if it got cut because we had some technical difficulties that day, but
I don't know.
I said
think
shape shifting.
Mhm.
shape-shifting, yeah. I think I also said shape-shifting at one point. I think that was more in the earlier. I don't know what you said.
I think I said reading people's minds, the first one. Now I'm changing it to teleporting. Remember somebody said that, but I can't remember who.
I was talking with Messina, she's
Mhm.
not here right now, about teleporting, and she was like, oh yeah, I think it was Messina, either that or it was one of my other friends. But they were like, yeah, it'd be really convenient if you were like asleep and then like, oh, you wake up late, oh, I'm gonna be late for school, you could just teleport to the school.
Exactly. Another thing I like is, I didn't say this by the way, no I didn't. But so like if you wanted to teleport to, I don't know, let's say Disney World, you wouldn't have to go on the gates. You could just teleport in the middle of the park. and
See,
nobody
now
would even
Connor's
notice.
trying to steal free rides at Disneyland, and I'm trying to get to school. I mean,
Right. It's
And somehow like you still got bad grades. No, I'm just
hey,
kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm
hey,
just
my
kidding. I'm just
grades
kidding.
are average. All right, they're fine.
it's
They're doing well. They're there in
They
Power
are
School,
there.
and they
Mhm.
exist. So that's great.
all right.
So yeah.
I think that's it for questions. Anything else, Ms. Schwer, you wanted to say for your, I guess you could say almost final sign off?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's very kind that you all asked me to come here today. I do appreciate it. I think I counted, somebody keeps saying to me, do you have a countdown? I'm like, no, I don't. So today I said, all right, what is the countdown? 25 days. So these kind of things are really sweet and nice in my final year, so thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you for being a guest and coming on the podcast. We were very glad to have you on here.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll
All right.
see you on the flip side.
Sounds good.